Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Sasaki to Pii-chan, episode 9, in which hopefully Sasaki will finally get Mark out of prison, because that was something that he was setting off to do, and he got completely sidetracked by not the princess. I keep calling her a princess, but she's the daughter of a count, so not a countess. Countess is a count's wife. Count countette? No, probably not. If there even is a name for the daughter of a count, Elsa, of course. Elsa sidetracked Sasaki in those efforts because she jumped into the crate with gold and got transported to Japan, where she met Futari Shizuka. Thankfully, they cannot communicate, so Futari Shizuka couldn't tell her that she's in Japan, and Elsa couldn't tell Futari Shizuka that she's not from the world of fairies, so that's, safety for Sasaki. Though I do wish at times that the jig was eventually up with someone at least, and that someone at least knew the truth. Oh well, perhaps not yet. I guess Elsa knows a little bit of it to a degree, because Sasaki told her that it's a different world, but he told her that off screen and she just referenced that. So maybe she knows the truth, but it wasn't like particularly clearly communicated. What else happened in that episode? Futari Shizuka got cursed by Piercarlo because she wanted to grab Elsa for some reason, to steal her magic maybe, to do something else to her, I don't know. So Pierre cursed her in a way where she has a curse on her hand, and if she exhibits any sort of aggression or malevolence towards Sasaki, Pierre, or Elsa, I assume, that curse will follow, will spread, and eventually will cause her death. So she will have to be on her best behavior. And then it was just kind of sidelined or basically ignored to a degree, and they were best buddies again. They went on a cruise with Elsa. Then Elsa got some crepes, new clothes, stuff like that, and she saved a kid with magic from falling into a pond of some sort. Thankfully, Sasaki used his work connections to, damage control the situation, damage control the media, because it was, of course, being live streamed. Well, not live streamed, it was broadcasted live on the TV, I assume. So a lot of damage control would be needed, of course. Then he found some sort of a weird excuse for Elsa. I guess Akutsu just got used to Sasaki's weird excuses, so he just accepted it. And instead, he gave Futari Shizuka a task. If she wants to become an employee of the bureau, she will have to hunt down her fellow Rouge Esper and bring his head to Akutsu, figuratively speaking, although knowing Futari Shizuka, it might as well be literal. I wonder if it's actually going to happen, or if maybe she's going to recruit that friend of hers. Well, friend, I mean, not a co-worker. It was hardly work. Her acquaintance, I'm just gonna say, yeah. Whether she's gonna recruit them, or she's gonna actually kill them, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. And I think that covers the previous episode. In today's episode, I see the first frame of the video is a candle holder, some sort of a candelabra on a wall, so I assume we are inside of Mark's dungeon. So maybe we're going to put the Futari Shizuka stuff on hold and we're going back to the Fantasyland with Elsa and we're going to save Mark. We don't know how much time has passed. That's also a thing, right? We know that there is time dilation. So how long has Elsa been gone? How long has Mark been waiting in the cell while Sasaki is frolicking around showing Elsa Japan, right? I wonder if it's gonna be addressed. We'll see, I guess. To see that, you will of course need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 9 of Sasaki to Pii-chan in 3, 2, 1, go. What's French doing with the dagger and a box of some sort? Okay, sure. I guess that. Yeah, that's better. My camera was obstructing the screen a little bit. How long has it been? Like, legit. It doesn't seem like it was that long, right? Like, a day. Maybe 2. But this is like weeks or months. I don't know. I wonder whether it's the time dilation coming into play here? Or could it be that this show simply isn't that great at showing the passage of time? Could be either. Or it could be that it just was 2 or 3 days and simply Mark has been in a bad shape for other reasons except the passage of time. Okay, where are we today? Fantasyland. Okay, that's good. So, what's the story? Oh, did they, like, tell Miller the truth? Or... I don't know. Whomst? French? Dietrich? Rando. Oh no, that's not the visitor. That's... whoever. It's not the prince. I know, someone. That's the second time that music really just cut off. Mm. Oh, it's the owner of the trading company. Weren't you conspiring with Dietrich to do that? I guess there really are just no laws in this country, are there? He said with a nonplussed expression. Why is his face so weird? Has it always been this way? Yeah, he absolutely was conspiring to do that. Just like you've spoken however many times. Mm-hmm. Yes. Could we not, like, bring that issue in front of the king to get Dietrich executed or something? Or does the king just give no fucks? Nice braid, though. And why would it be? Okay, territory. Yeah, most probably. Tiny hands. Fair. He also has some package with him. That will probably be important during the negotiations. A gun. Let's assassinate Dietrich. Oh, this sort of a meeting? No? Who? Why did it look like someone's portrait? Hmm. Okay, so you probably already have ways of dealing with this type. Oh, just a walkie-talkie? This transceiver is kinda useless without a pair. Yes. Batteries, right. Oh. Yeah, that's not gonna work. What what is your plan? Because it really doesn't seem like much would possibly change Dietrich's mind. And who told you? Yeah. I'm gonna buy guns, give them to your army, and you can conquer Dietrich's territory. It's a free for all anyway, since the king's announcement, isn't it? So might as well. Also, yeah, you don't really need guns with Pierre around. What though? What's your plan? Of course. Of course, he supports the evil brother. And what's inside of this crate? That's the merchant from the capital, right? Yeah, we are still making the company. I'm still not sure why, though. That's a lot. Why do you need so much money? I don't think it's likely that Dietrich would be, willing to free Mark in exchange for money. He wants resources and opportunities, not just cash. Noble from Herz, meaning Dietrich. Why was he seated straight towards the window? Oh, hey, Otonari-san. Been a while. Oh, is she going the other way than Elsa? Is she gonna go to Fantasyland? Is that why they were shown in parallel in the opening? Elsa goes to Japan, Otonari goes to Hertz? She's not really gonna be given an opportunity to do so unless she, like, tails Sasaki and jumps into the teleportation circle or something? Maybe. It's 10. Hmm. They really are hiding a lot. And I'm not sure how much I like it, honestly. On one hand, it's cool because we get that, like, moment of resolution when everything becomes clear. On the other, I don't like not knowing the things that the characters in the show know. You know what I mean? Okay, Miller is back from wherever he was. How did what go? And who are you? Oh, you're the eldest brother. Right, right. And we're ending the episode. Well, I guess not quite yet. Oh, the jig is up. Yeah, the Herman company isn't doing so hot. So you doing business with his company might not be as beneficial as you thought. They're just trying to use you. They being Herman. Okay. Sasaki? Looks similar. Credits, yeah. This episode was a little bit of a nothing burger, if I'm to be honest with you. It kind of feels like... how do I say it? Setting the stage. I think that's basically what this episode did. Right? Like, oh, Mark is gonna get executed, and we know that French has access to him. And we know how badly he's doing. We know Dietrich and his stance, right? We learn all that auxiliary stuff without actually, like, following through with anything. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. This episode set the stage for whatever is to come next. Wasn't my favorite. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. This episode was not my favorite. It wasn't the worst, absolutely not. Actually, I think it might have been the worst so far. In this show, right? Not like the worst anime of episode I've ever seen ever, but I know. Let's go through it again. Yeah, French can visit Mark and bring him some food. I thought that might be a part of the plan, like give him something that he can use to escape or some such. I don't know. This is, I guess, a good example of what I mentioned, that this show really tends to not tell us what's happening and only explain those things post factum, if at all. Right? It was very visible early on in early episodes where essentially just summaries of what happened without actually seeing what happened. And this is different because we don't even get a summary, right? Like in this situation, we don't even get a summary of what Sasaki said. We don't have anything like, oh, I told him that Elsa boarded my ship to the foreign lands. Thankfully, he believed that lie. Or anything like that. We have nothing. We just have that, oh yeah, Sasaki brought her, and it was revealed that it's Elsa's fault. It was Elsa's fault, and Miller is not particularly, worried about it. He's fine, everything is fine, all's well that ends well. We don't know what new lie has Sasaki spun, if any. We don't know if maybe he deemed it necessary to tell Miller the whole truth, just like he told Elsa. We don't know whether he did tell Elsa the whole truth, or just a part of it. We don't know how much time has passed. We just don't know so many things, right? Not a huge fan. I guess they might just be strapped for time because we don't have that many more episodes left. So maybe they're just trying to cut the unnecessary chatter, but I know, I guess I just like knowing. And this is the younger brother. Right. Yeah. Not Miller. Mark is gonna get executed. And this is just funny. The voice actor is really doing his best. He's really speaking up with a tone of passion, right? I will not let him be executed, right? You can almost see that, and then his motherfucker, I didn't do that. Well, I haven't said much of import anyway. But then you see this face. Then you see this face. And it just doesn't match the voice whatsoever. Right? Like, you can hear the passion in his voice. But the face just doesn't match. The face just doesn't match. And this was the situation where I was talking about how, they just don't tell us things. For some reason. Okay. Yeah. Allow Mark to atone. This also wasn't the first time. Well, it was the first time, but not the only time where I noticed that people have some wonky faces this time around. And also, another kind of funny moment. We have this like nice kind of dramatic slow music. And it just cuts off. It just cuts off with no payoff, no nothing. And that again happened later on. And I think this same track was also used, and it was also used later. It really has me worried about the like budget and general state of this show. Right? Like it never had stellar art. It never had stellar animation. It never had like particularly memorable music. The OP is a banger, but besides that, not really. And now it's just getting kind of worse. Like this scene is just a bunch of stills. Yeah, let's go speak to Dietrich. We know who Dietrich is, and he wants the territory, so he probably wants to harm Miller's territory to have an easier time of capturing it. Perhaps have the inhabitants of this county just cede their territory of their own volition to Dietrich's territory because they believe that they will be ruled better. Maybe if you weaken Miller's territory enough, you will be able to capture it militarily without much issue, right? Makes sense to weaken your enemy. And yeah, this whole thing is just stills with some camera shake. They notice how the camera on Piercarlo is from the top to avoid animating his beak moving. Look how short his fingers are. Man. Oh man. They're really kind of dropping the ball in the art department, unfortunately, because the backgrounds are cool. I really like the backgrounds. They're really detailed and really nice looking. But then you see the characters and they're just kind of... Or you see this. Or you see this. Let's appreciate it fully. In motion. My dude was just sitting sideways in the carriage and looking out of the window. It just... They couldn't even draw him sitting sideways. What the fuck? Why is he not sitting sideways, forwards, facing forwards, and we see his side face through the window? Instead, we see him as if he was sitting front towards the window. What? Why? Why? The matter has been decided. I wonder what executing Miller actually achieves in reality. Executing not Miller but Mark. You can just keep him in prison and be done with it. You can just free him or take a payment for him or exchange him for someone or do something. He can be useful, right? Like, you want the Herman Company and they already want to ally themselves with you. This would give Herman Company a reason to fire Mark. So Herman would not have to deal with Mark anymore, and Dietrich would have the Herman Company. Everybody wins. Mark's death isn't really necessary, besides, I guess, Herman himself wanting it for some godforsaken reason. Just being spiteful enough for that? I know. The one who hated Prince Adonis, yeah, and here's some curious items. The communicator, transceiver, binoculars, calculator, yeah. And of course, an impossible to meet requirement. We're gonna free Mark if you sell all of your stock to us, which is of course not something that's doable. I wonder how is Sasaki going to get out of this, though. Yeah, we can move some merchandise. This will all serve to benefit of Prince Louis. Of course, he's aligned with the bad guys. The Crown Prince will be the next king without fail. Isn't it that, being a Crown Prince doesn't really matter if the king can just appoint whoever as his successor? Or are you trying to help the prince by destroying the competition? Why wouldn't you yourself want to become the king? You're clearly ambitious enough for that. And you have the ability to do so. Or have I misunderstood how the king's orders work? And it's not that... And it is only the princes who are in the line of succession, and maybe their children, should they have any, and other family, but not the regular random nobles. But if that was the case, then why is there infighting among the nobles? Why are there multiple civil wars going on? I know, I'm not sure. Have some coin. And we bring the remaining stock. Yeah, as collateral for the trading company. And more stock will be exchanged for cash. Central bank, right. Noble from Hertz took a loan, and that was apparently Herman. And everything is kind of like falling together, right? Like Dietrich wants Herman Trading Company because he believes that Herman Trading Company brings a ton of profit. And Herman's condition was get us a place in the capital and get rid of Mark. So Dietrich agreed. But it turns out that Herman Company might actually be in financial trouble. So they are no longer useful to Dietrich. So he doesn't have to follow through with their agreement, and he can free Mark. Or he can be convinced that Mark will be of more benefit to him than Herman. Maybe. I'm glad to see Otonari again. And like, she was kind of teased to be a little bit of an important character here. Maybe someone who will uncover Sasaki's second life, maybe, or third life even, because his first life is the one that he shows. His second life is the government agency that he hides that fact, and then there's his life in the fantasy land. I honestly thought that she's going to enter. She's going to see Sasaki and Pierre inside of a teleportation circle. She runs in and gets teleported with them. I fully expected that to happen. Also, this is interesting. I wonder if Piercarlo has seen something in her, or she in Pierre. Maybe. I'm not sure. Yellow eyes. No, that's a little bit too much of a stretch. Here, I thought that she's going to tail him. And maybe she is tailing him, actually. She might very well be. It's not shown explicitly. But I wonder. And yeah, unknown wares that Futari Shizuka facilitated. Miller with the elder brother are returning from somewhere. Another thing we don't know. We don't know where have they been, where they are returning from. We know that it's the end of the line, right? This is the day where they have to make the decision. And we don't really know what they have been making. What have they been doing all this time? That's another thing, right? Like, okay, Sasaki figured something out, I would assume. Miller figured something out with his son, but we don't know what. And today is the deadline. Right. That's important. What have they been doing throughout the month? I don't know. It wasn't shown. Yeah, what's this loan? And then he gets something that clearly makes him happy. Sasaki's decision to agree to his terms? How would he get out of those terms then? Ah. Some sort of a technicality like Sasaki the merchant agreed to trade with you, but Sasaki the trading company did not. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no clue. Could he be passing his wares off to someone else? No, not really. He is known to be the only supplier of them. I really don't know. The only thing that I figured is that Sasaki or Miller, perhaps Miller, because he went off to somewhere and returned successfully, so maybe he went to Dietrich to tell him about the situation of the Hermann company, bring the ledgers. Yeah, probably. Probably exactly what happened. But besides that, I really feel left in the dark. I really feel left in the dark. Huh. Okay, that's the episode. There we go. As I said, not my favorite, certainly. Some scuffy art and animation, even a little more scuffy than usual, and the weird, like, musical scuff, where they use the same track like 3 times and twice they just cut it off unceremoniously. I don't know. It really feels like they're slowly running out of budget. Not that they ever had particularly high budget in the first place. But regardless of that, the story told in this episode, I see where it's going. I see that it's going towards some specific conclusion. I see bits and pieces of it, but I don't like that I don't know some things that I feel I should know. Right? Like, I should know what Sasaki wanted from Futari Shizuka. I feel like this should be a piece of information that the viewer is granted. I think that some things should be stated explicitly as well, right? Like, what was the purpose of Miller's trip with his son? What were they trying to achieve, and what did they achieve? We know that they were successful. We don't know at what. And it's kind of a running theme throughout this episode, because early on, as I mentioned, we just don't know what happened with Elsa. What was the excuse? How long they've been gone? And again, I feel like it's something that I would like to know. But I don't, because I wasn't told that. Very mysterious episode, but not in a way I usually enjoy. There are, I think I talked about it. I talked about it many times. I don't know if I talked about it in regards to Sasaki. There are like 2 ways of not knowing. The characters in the show don't know it, so you, the viewer, don't know it either. That's good. And the other way that I'm not particularly fond of is the characters in the show know it, but you aren't granted that knowledge. And that creates the mystery, and it's frustrating mystery. Because the characters in the show know the things that you don't. Right? It's very often a cheap way to introduce mystery in just mystery shows or detective shows. Right? The main character enters a room, we are shown their face as they're going, aha, it all makes sense now. But we don't see what's in the room. And then it is revealed later. And it's a very easy way to introduce mystery, and it's a very cheap way to introduce mystery. I'm much more partial towards being able to figure out things together with the character, right? We know everything that the character knows. And we can reasonably make the same assumptions that the character can. Whether we do make those same assumptions, whether we do come to the same conclusions or not, that remains to be seen. Undead Girl Murder Farce really, really did it well. All the details that the main characters have seen, we were also shown. And we were given every opportunity to come to the correct conclusion. And that's why when the characters in the show made a statement, made a conclusion, revealed the truth, it can make sense, it can click in your head, because you're like, right, you're right, they did show that scene in episode 4, and the page in the book was bent. right? It makes sense. Instead of throwing a bullshit at us, like, oh, I've actually seen the perpetrator in the reflection in your eye. And we weren't really shown that reflection, so did the character see it? Did they not? I don't know. Beats me. We weren't told that. And it really feels like Sasaki, this episode at least, I don't want to generalize, but this episode particularly falls into the characters know something that the viewer doesn't, and I find it more frustrating than mysterious. I don't know. Some things were revealed though, so I guess that is at least something. In general, this episode kind of felt like a lot of talking and a lot of jumping place to place and a lot of setup without much happening, right? Without much particularly happening. Usually you would have it like intertwined with things happening. Like you have some setup in this world, then you jump to a human world, to Japan for a while, and because there's a Rouge psychic and you need to subdue them with Hoshizaki, and it's a bit of, it gets your mind off the preparation and the scheming and stuff like that for a moment. And then you go back to the preparation and scheming. This is just an episode of talking and establishing the ground for the future happenings. Yeah, I guess it was necessary, but I'm in general not a huge fan. I think I'm gonna like the payoff. I think I am going to like when Sasaki finally reveals how does he want to save Mark, and when he actually does it. I'm going to revel in however he plans to destroy Herman and perhaps even Dietrich. I'm going to love it. I know that. But this preparation stage is just kind of whatever. Just kind of whatever, I guess. That would be the best description of this episode, I guess. And yeah, I guess we're gonna end it here. So maybe you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that, in the comments down below. Like this video. If you did, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Sasaki to Pii-chan, but also no Majo record anymore, new show, and you can vote on it if you want. Shangri-La Frontier, Frieren, of course, Majo to Yajuu, Metallic Rouge, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, link down below, where for $10 a month, you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Majo Record and others. For $5, you can vote on what the others can be, and for just $1, you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube via membership, super thanks, super chats, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB without a network survivor, Zayrainer, Dr. Wood, Akumaser, Marsh, Keala, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them without having to figure out the way how to free Mark.